ADHD Advocate with Stephanie Camilleri, also from the ADHD Advocate.
Hello.
And hello. We are here today to talk a bit about revising the ADHD way, we like to call it. And certainly we know from ADHD, our brains are sort of uniquely wired. And when it comes to revising, this is sort of a tricky thing. Haven't you found that as well, Steph?
Yeah, I mean, coaching is really helpful for students with ADHD in particular because of the accountability element and the ability in coaching to be able to help your coachee get clear about where they are, where they need to go, what the gap is, and how to get there. So yes, it really is very effective for our students with ADHD.
Absolutely. And a lot of our students, our coaching clients, we do see that their perception of sort of where they are and where they need to be can be miles apart. And what we can help do is really quantify that. So it's not up to their sort of interpretation, and they are less likely to sort of go down that rabbit hole of doom and gloom that it's going to be something insurmountable. So by really helping them understand what the gaps are and the challenges they need to address, we can show them that very specifically and then help them get there. And that is really the benefit of coaching and the student support that we do offer.
Yeah, it's the narrative. If you don't have that ADHD lens, then these kids are basically telling themselves maybe they're stupid. They get to a point that they just stop trying. They lose hope. And when they're so emotionally dysregulated, which obviously is the case with ADHD, when it comes to rejection sensitive dysphoria, it's very hard to access any learning of any kind because they basically feel like they're in a hole that they can't get out of. So it's really important that these kids understand to be able to distinguish between character flaws and what's their actual ADHD.
Yes, yes. And that can start from quite a young age, as we've seen with the calls we get not only from parents for parent coaching, but also for support for their children, some as young as 6, 7, 8 years old. And it's important to recognize that the earlier we can support our students when we know that there is some neurodiversity and certainly seeking an accurate diagnosis as soon as possible, we can help them from a younger age. And whether that's starting with an EHCP while they're in school and carrying through to their revising as older students, we can embrace the way that the ADHD brain works and use it to their advantage and to their success.
Yeah, and actually, when you were talking about neurodiversity, Eleni, it is Neurodiversity Celebration Week.
Indeed,
So,
it is.
yeah. So obviously, happy Neurodiversity Celebration Week to everyone. And on this point of revising and kind of learning the ADHD way, I'll be speaking soon to a group of colleges actually about the ADHD superpowers when your ADHD can be a strength, how to be able to really harness some of those strengths, leverage those strengths in order to thrive, because our brain doesn't work in the usual way. So things that are imposed upon us in order to learn, sometimes it just won't work. It doesn't click, and it only contributes to that negative narrative, which isn't going to help. So it's all about being able to do things in your own way. And obviously from ADHD to ADHD, it will be different. It's not exactly the same, but there are certain dominant processing styles that are common to ADHD, aren't there, Eleni?
Absolutely. And with coaching, a lot of our clients and students sort of need that validation, that permission to process and learn things differently. And whether that's as simple as, needing to stand up at the back of the class and walk around so that they can process in their way. But that's not neurotypical, is it? Certainly when they, it might be a unique way that they need to process the information that they're learning, but it doesn't mean they're learning it any differently. It's just their way.
And the problem, I guess, with education is that often they're penalized when they try. We've talked about this before. So verbal processing is one of our dominant processing styles. Just sitting there, that passive learning doesn't really work for us. And so a child in class might want to ask more questions or talk to their colleague, or there's the other pupil about what just to bounce something off them to stay engaged, but then they get penalized, they get sent to detention. So schools aren't allowing them to learn in their way, which obviously can lead to some very poor educational and other outcomes.
Yes. Yes, well said, Stephanie. So just to sum up for today, support as early as possible can certainly help students develop good study habits. Revising and coaching with an ADHD coach can help reinforce those ADHD strengths that we believe students have and just need permission to make use of. And lastly, consistency, because we've also seen from our clients, once they do get into a regular structured habit and develop those consistent routines, they do ensure more of a chance of success.
Yeah, but not really alone. It's funny, we say quite often, when you know better, you do better, but that's always kind of prefaced with, well, it's not everything. Often, we don't do what we know, having ADHD, and consistency is the hardest thing, isn't it, to attain? So that's where we help these students get out of their own way by providing the kind of structure, accountability they need to stay on track. And that's what we're doing via the Academic Success Program. And that date that we launched, that date is past now, but we'll be launching again later this year on a date to be confirmed, because we're just reaching out to the parents to find out, including yourselves, if you have any suggestions for when a good date. Probably we're thinking September, October, November would be good to start the next one. Do let us know just in the comments box of the Facebook page.
Yes. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you again next Monday.
Yeah. And embrace your neurodiversity, embrace the ADHD, and yeah, we'll speak
and keep checking back here.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.